Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with some old school wrestling for you today, and it's July, so I said let's talk about Money in the Bank 2011. The reason I picked this particular video, well, there was seemed to be um, some polarization with this year's Money in the Bank pay per view. I thought it was a good show overall, but let's go back. I figured let's go back and check out the show that made kind of put Money in the Bank on the map as the spiritual predecessor to King of the Ring, the unofficial fifth big one, fifth main pay per view for the WWE. And that's the 2011 show. Now, this show was held on July the 17th in the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois, and had attendance of 14,815 very loud people. Our commentating team is a three-man group of Michael Bay. I wrote Michael Bay here. Michael Cole, Booker T, and Jerry the King Lawler. I was instantly reminded at the beginning of this that Michael Cole was a heel commentator at this time, which already just dates this show in a bad, bad way. And by the way, the reason never mind. I'll get it. I ain't gonna backtrack on my prepping here. Our opening bout is the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match. That's right. Before they're having the ladies do it, they split between Raw and SmackDown because apparently just one of these matches a night isn't good enough. So this match features Sin Cara, Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Sheamus, Cody Rhodes, Heath Slater, Daniel Bryan, and Kane. Four of these men were fresh off their Nexus rivalry. I believe the core were still together in some form at this time, but the core of the Nexus pretty much dead in the water by this time. Stories weren't progressing, and it wasn't really a thing anymore, even if it wasn't officially dead yet. Lots of great spots. I prefer this ladder match to the one later in the show. Sin Cara takes a vicious power bomb through the ladder. They show it twice in super slow motion replay, and you clearly can see the gimmick in the ladder. Sin Cara, so he's out early. Thank God. Can't stand him. I like the spot with the four Nexus guys all in together, and Gabriel, Slater, and Barrett gang up on Bryan before the other two, the former tag champs, gang up on Barrett. That was a cool spot. Sheamus goes straight up, feel it all throughout this match, man. He's building shit up and creating scaffolds. Lots of good stuff in this match. Lots of entertaining moments. Kane goes on just kill everybody's streak as he's one to do. Great spot where Barrett steps over a ladder that's prepped up on the outside and kicks a guy right in the face. Fucking pitch perfect beauty right there. The finish comes along where Bryan and Barrett are fighting on the ladder. There's a second ladder hung up in between the ring post and the ladder under the belt. Barrett's gonna go for Wasteland, terrible finisher, on Bryan, but Bryan's able to fight out of it, knocks Barrett down, grabs the briefcase, and becomes one of the few baby faces that have won the Money in the Bank, or I should say one of the few baby faces that won Money in the Bank that people actually wanted to win. Bryan, of course, would cash in the Money in the Bank contract in December and put him on a heel run that ultimately made him one of the biggest stars in the company ever. As far as most popular, as far when it comes to pay-per-view buys, merchandise selling, it's a different issue. Backstage, we see John Laurinaitis, Vince McMahon, and a nameless attorney showing up earlier in the day at the arena in their living room, in their limousine, and apparently McMahon's goal tonight is to get CM Punk to re-sign with the WWE before his contract runs out tonight and before the main event match even goes down. Next up is our first of 3 title matches on the show. Brie Bella with her twin sister Nikki, and this is when they were still identical twins. How about that? And it's so funny that they both had developed their personalities so much over the years since that I could tell which one was which, like, right away. Taking on, or challenging Kelly, the Divas Champion, with Eve Torres in her corner. Before I go any further into this, I'm just going to point out that Eve Torres is, in person, probably the most beautiful most beautiful woman I've ever laid my eyes on. Most beautiful person I've ever laid my eyes on was my daughters. They're tied. This is a basic women's match of the era. Kelly hits her K2, or the Kelly Killer, or whatever she was calling it at the time, and retains in a pretty simple match. It was, despite Nikki being dressed exactly like Brie, there was like no attempts at twin matches in this match. It was weird. Okay, my kid's turning into a gorilla again. I'll be right back. Up next is a grudge match, The Big Show versus Mark Henry, and Michael Cole fittingly refers to this match as the Battle of the Behemoths before it goes down. This was just at the beginning of Mark Henry's great Hall of Pain run. Big Show was his first victim, and it was, they have a base. I did like how, what you expect to be what you got from this match. Two big guys throwing each other around. Mark Henry really bumping his ass off. Pretty sure at one point he gets Show outside, throws him into the ring steps. He flips over the ring steps, hops back up, and drop kicks the ring steps into Big Show's knee. I like that sequence. Both these guys never really get the credit they deserve for being as agile and fast as they actually are. The finish comes. Mark Henry hits the World's Strongest Slam, but Big Show kicks out. Henry hits a second World's Strongest Slam and 2 Ultimate Warrior-style big splashes and gets the win, but he's not done. As I said, this is the Hall of Pain era. He goes out, gets a steel chair, and smashes the Big Show's ankle. Breaks his goddamn ankle. They show a stretcher coming out for the Big Show, but they don't, they cut to a Max package or something like that. Oh, they cut to one of their, I know what they cut to. They cut to McMahon being interviewed by Josh Matthews in his office, pretty much just saying everything we've already said. He couldn't get Punk to re-sign, and he's blaming John Cena for all this. That's why John Cena doesn't retain the title against CM Punk, and CM Punk leaves Chicago and the company with their top title tonight. John Cena's fired too. But my biggest question was, did they get Big Show on the stretcher or not? Up next is the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match, and this one features Alberto Del Rio, Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Alex Riley, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio. I just about forgotten Alex Riley had any kind of push around this time. It's my understanding, I don't know how true this shit is, but it's my understanding that he was basically run out of the business by John Cena and Cena's hazing. So many guys in this. It was also during that weird era where R-Truth was somehow one of the company's top heels. Okay, I did like how during their entrances, everybody grabs one of the ladders from the ramp and entranceway to carry into the ring. I did love the whole set look itself. One of the rare modern times we actually had a set. We don't get them at all if it's not WrestleMania these days. I mean, they had the 2 big light scaffolds on either side of the entranceway of the Titantron, both shaped to look like ladders. We got this big money truck, an armored car that says the Money in the Bank on it. And even Titantron itself had a handle on the top to make it look like the briefcase. Really, really cool looking. Basic, simple, but really slick. I liked it a lot. This is not as good a ladder match. In my opinion, I think there's some botchy spots. There's this real, for example, Truth tries to go for a springboard, kick a ladder into the ring, and stomp on a ladder into Jack Swagger's face, and just doesn't work. There's a spot where Kofi and Jack are fighting on top of the ladder, and they fall too soon, and they fall on top of each other. The ladder falls on them. It's just scary. There's this weird bit where The Miz is hanging on from the briefcase, no ladder, falls and he jams his knee. Clearly, some part of the story gets taken out, comes back in for heroic treatment, but it'd be like a year and a half before they would try to actually pull the trigger on turning him in his face. And even when they did, it didn't really work because he lost all of his cunning, and they just made him a toothless baby face. Ultimately, it comes down to Alberto Del Rio, Rey Mysterio on top of the ladder. Alberto rips off Rey's mask, and Rey plummets off the ladder. But when he falls, the ladder he's on falls back into Alberto, knocking his ladder down. So Alberto has to reset up the ladder and climb up and get it. Clearly a botched finish, and that's what most people remember from this match. After the match, Alberto cuts a brief interview backstage with Josh Matthews again, where he makes a really good point. He won a triple threat match while Punk was suspended to become number one contender. He's already deserves a title shot. He shouldn't have even had to compete in this Money in the Bank ladder match. He shouldn't have been obligated to win it. And this briefcase means nothing to him but a formality. It's his destiny to be the next WWE champion, and he actually would be by the end of SummerSlam next month. Up next is an interesting match from what's considered the best feud of this year. Christian versus Randy Orton. They had a really interesting feud where the story escalated with every match they had, and it was the story. It wasn't about how many gimmick matches they can throw in over a 4-month period. It was just about the story and the rivalry getting bigger and bigger and more personal. I think they only would have the one gimmick match would be a street fight at no holds barred match or a street fight, something like that, at SummerSlam. So the stipulation here was Orton's the defending champion. He's beaten Christian several times at this point, but every single victory has had something tainted. Christian went into the match injured, or the referee didn't see the foot under the rope, or the referee that started the match didn't finish the match, all these kind of things. So the stipulation here is Randy Orton is disqualified. He will lose the title to Christian. It's one of those steps. You do them a lot, but it never actually results in a title change except for this one time. Right from go, Christian slides out of the ring, throws in the chair, telling Randy to him in the back, he has to push it with Randy. Hits the kill switch, Randy kicks out. Randy's getting built up, he's going for the RKO, and Christian spits in his face. Oh shit. Orton snaps, he kicks him in the nuts. DQ, match is over. Christian is the new world champion. Orton's not done. He fucking throws him outside. Hits an RKO on the announce table. Goes to leave. Says fuck it. Comes back and hits a second RKO on the announce table. It was awesome. I know I ran through that whole match in 90 seconds, but that was a great goddamn match. And now it is time for the main event, the match we are all here to see. CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. Punk's contract is up at midnight. He's leaving the company, win, lose, or draw, but he's promised he's taking the WWE title with him. It's a real cool storyline. Of course, Chicago, his hometown, they are just ravenously behind Punk and just nuclear heat for John Cena. There's no salute, there's no smile, there's no charge to the ring, slide in. It's very cold, very somber, doesn't even address the fans, like stone face, walks to the ring, takes off the title, holds it up, and ready to fight. Punk showing him a lot of respect, clapping for him. Of course, it's, it can be seen as mind games too, but it was interesting. There's nothing I can really say about this match. You gotta see the match. It goes over 30 minutes. It's just textbook, big match, main event, workmanship. Ricky and Flair, Dusty and Flair, Sting and Flair. I think someone else in Flair. Stone Cold and The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. These kind of guys. This was one you should study. If you're a wrestler getting in there and you want to learn how to be the big main event, 20-minute instant classic kind of guy, this is the kind of match you should study and watch. This is a great match. It is. I would make a fair argument it's one of the top 5. I would make the argument it's one of the top 5 best matches WWE's ever put on. I love breaking out an abdominal stretch which was like almost a forgotten move at this time in the middle of the match. This great spot where Cena's up against the ropes and Punk just jumps in and lays in a knee right to the face, and it's like he hits him. It's a nasty smack. Punk eventually gets the GTS, but Cena falls backwards, rolling out of the ring. Cena locks in the STF. McMahon and Laurinaitis come down. McMahon screaming, call for the bell, call for the bell. John Laurinaitis is running around the ring to ring the bell. Cena lets go of the hold, slides out of the ring, clotheslines Laurinaitis, telling McMahon, we're not going to do it like that. I'm going to win the fight. Gets back in the ring. GTS, 1, 2, 3. And CM Punk is the World Heavyweight Champion. Or the WWE Champion. The other one was for the World Heavyweight title. Punk is celebrating in the ring. Crowd is going insane. McMahon grabs a headset from the commentators, demanding Alberto Del Rio come out here and cash in his Money in the Bank contract right fucking now. Alberto comes running out, and he walks right into a fucking kick to the skull by Punk. Punk grabs a belt. Famous imagery. He grabs a belt, jumps on the barricade, blows Vince McMahon a kiss, and the show goes off the air with him running through the crowd in Chicago, saying goodbye. Of course, it's a great show, mainly helped by, to be honest, all the matches are good. All the matches are good. The women's matches, it's so short, it's not even worth registering. But the other 5 matches have either interesting stories or great in-ring performances from somebody. Those last 2 matches are excellent, and that final main event is, as I said, it should be on WWE's Mount Rushmore. Great. I couldn't stand the commentating team. The 3 of these guys constantly bickering, and this constant talk about the main event. I never like when they do that. Focus on the match that's in front of you, especially during the women's match. I don't think that they barely even address the 4 women involved during that deal. It's a really good show. It's really worth going back and watching. But when I was reviewing this, revisiting this show from 11 years ago, I did instantly remember why I don't cover the PG era. Because I lived through it, and it was awful. This would be just the beginning, of course. Everything that came after this, with the Summer of Punk, was botched. But, got the Mark Henry Hall of Pain, and you got Randy Orton and Christian. It's just nice going back. See, they had 3 really, really good things going this time. Plus, you add on it Daniel Bryan, who's having this really organic, legitimate connection to the crowd. It's a good show, but it's also frustrating when you think of how much they blew it with the CM Punk thing. I mean, lots of people have done their own booking. I've never done my own booking for it because I think it would have, the problem. It was obvious, right? Just let Punk travel around with a belt, let the World Heavyweight title go back into main focus, and then throw everything up when Punk comes back at the end of the year. But of course, it ended up becoming all about Kevin Nash and Triple H, and shockingly, hey, we got a boom in the ratings. Let's make everything about the McMahons, because that's what everyone loves. I will point out, it was so weird. So, Punk wins the belt here, leaves the company. The next night, McMahon orders a tournament, which is won by Rey Mysterio to become the new WWE champion, who defends it later that night against John Cena, who becomes the new champion. When Punk then instantly returns with this Cult of Personality theme song, so now they're co-champion, and they're going to decide undisputed champion at SummerSlam, and everyone instantly forgets that Rey Mysterio was the champion. Oh, poor fucking Rey. Also, they did Rey wrong. Anyways, overall as a pay-per-view, I thought it was a good show. But it also was bringing up these negative memories about, how shitty the company was at this time. Like, for example, neither the Intercontinental or United States champion were on the show. Not even involved in the Money in the Bank ladder matches, which seemed to be like tradition, you know what I mean? But yeah, It's a good show. I see it if you haven't seen it, but at the same time, if is it really worth it? Just for some good wrestling. It's not old enough to be so nostalgic that you can ignore all the bad things. And the truth is, I don't know if it ever will be that nostalgic. But now I'm just fucking drilling. Wrap this up. I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.